to be able to print to corrugated. Darren, can you just show us the ski and sort of talk us through the installation and what hardware is required for it?
This goes on a rail that's mounted in the back of the printer. There's 2 bolts, goes in, probably take about 15 seconds to put one in. What happens is, this sits in the printer like this, corrugated comes in, and it rides under the lip. And that's how we keep the corrugated down.
Is there anything on the carriage that will alert an operator, or is there anything that the operator needs to do to avoid any sort of collisions of the carriage with the skis?
The carriage is full of sensors that will detect the ski. If the ski is in wrong, if the ski is too high, if the carriage gets too close to the ski, the carriage will instantly stop.
Excellent. And do you happen to know what the skis are made of? Is it a solid steel application?
Yes, they're made out of solid steel.
And what about running multiple lanes of corrugated? So if we were running, wanted to run 2 sheets up of corrugated, can you run multiple lanes utilizing the skis?
Yes, what you would do is you would put the ski, you'd set the ski in the middle, and you can run both sides of the ski have a groove in it.
Okay, so you would just mount 3 skis to run 2 lanes,
yep.
Right? Excellent. And this is an option, so this would be something that, when you are investing in the printer, if you know that you're going to have a lot of corrugate, you can buy it initially, or if corrugate is something that you're not doing currently, but something that you're looking to get into, you don't have to purchase them right away. You can add them at any time. So Darren, if we want, why don't we go ahead and we can switch over to the back of the printer. You can show us what it looks like to manage the warped material. So Darren, as I mentioned, has an infamous presentation of, corrugate never lays flat. You can see that it's slightly bowed in the vertical way. Darren is going to exaggerate the amount of damage on the material and show how the MEGs will manage that material very well. Are there any questions online at the moment?
Yes, Tiffany, we have a question regarding when you would select an H5 series versus an Nozomi for printing corrugated.
That would be based on volume. The Nozomi and the H3, H5 platform, very, very, very different in the amount of volume. So there is a TCO and, throughout the sales cycle where you can determine what your volume looks like. And the suggestion can be made with your sales team based on your volume, based on your needs, what platform you should go with. You guys can see there, definitely not flat substrate. Darren's just going to go ahead and get that lead edge up against the fence. Activate the print with the foot pedal. And then in switching around to the front, you can see the skis there. Material coming through. You can see how the edges of the material are riding underneath the skis. And Darren, we can see that the carriage is traveling quite slow. What is the process right now that the carriage is doing?
What it's doing right now is it's checking the height of the skis, the height of the material, and making sure that the carriage is not going to run into the setup. It does that on the first pass. If you're running continuous, it only does it on the first sheet.
So there won't be any time loss in production.
Tiffany and Darren, what is the maximum thickness you can run, and how many skis can fit on the printer at one time?
So the maximum thickness of substrate is going to be 2 inches. And when you're running 2 lanes of production, so right now we're running 1 sheet across. If you were to be running 2 sheets across, you would have 3 skis mounted. You can run up to 4. So you can see absolutely no trouble getting that badly damaged piece of corrugate through the printer. Darren, if you can just hold that still real quick, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So you can see how damaged that sheet was. And it ran through the printer perfectly fine. Now, that was a very quick print. Darren, if you wanted to go ahead and load another sheet through, that mode there was the 109 4x8 boards an hour. So very, very, very quick. And again, limited amount of setup. The skis can be installed and attached in about 10 minutes to get them installed. Once you have the brackets on and the offsets established, taking those skis off and putting them back on, to Darren's point, is less than a minute. It takes just a few seconds. That initial setup with the offsets and making sure that you have them in the right position, again, just a few minutes longer.
Tiffany, is there automation available for loading the corrugated or other materials?
Great question. Yes. So on the H3, H5 platform, we have several different pieces of hardware that will allow for more efficient, less manual loading of substrates. For the hybrid platform, we have the 3/4 loader, which will allow you to have 3 sheets staged. So 1 sheet in the printer being printed, 1 sheet processed through and waiting in line, and then your operator handling the 3rd sheet. So it allows for pretty seamless production. We also have different roll options. We have Super Duty winders, which will allow for a 24-inch outer diameter and will allow for about 1,800 pounds on the roll. And then additionally, we have the elevated split shaft unwinder and rewinder, which will be very beneficial in handling rolled substrates that have a bit more of a memory, that don't necessarily lay flat when they're coming off of the roll. So we have all of that available, as well as a stacker option. So when you're printing at 109 4x8 an hour, the sheets are going to be coming off quite quickly, and it will allow for a transition off of the front of the printer onto a stacker that is accessible by forklift for removal of your completed prints.
Tiffany, can the skis be used to hold down other materials like plywood that might not be flat? What's the maximum thickness that can go through the skis?
You can run a flexible plywood. Anything that's too thick, though, it will just bend the ski. But all the thin 1/4 inch flexible plywood, we've done that before.
The limitation really becomes the rigidity of the material as opposed to the thickness. So if the material can be manipulated easily, then the skis will be able to hold it down. If you're talking about a high quality hardwood, of course, that type of material will be too rigid. So it's not necessarily about rigidity. It's more, about thickness. It's more about rigidity. Oh, there we go. The video froze there for a second. So again, very quick and easy. The idea here on the H3, H5 platform is that serviceability, accessibility, but really efficiency, being able to manage your materials quickly as one operator, transitioning between different substrates, making sure that really the competitive edge here is that anybody can make pretty pictures at this point. All of the big players can print to pretty much anything and make it look nice. A differentiator for us over here, of course, is the material handling, the efficiency of the printer, and the speeds. So you can see, really great print quality, vibrant colors. Again, 109 4x8 an hour, very quick. And of course, Darren's presentation of, really damaging the boards and seeing how easily they can be loaded and transitioned through the printer really is the differentiator for us on this platform.
Can you print edge to edge on this printer?
You absolutely can print edge to edge, full bleed on MEGs. However, when Darren was showing you, the edges on the left and right do ride underneath the skis. So when you're using MEG, you will lose about 1/8 of an inch on either side that you cannot image to. You can image full bleed on the leading and the trailing edge of your sheets.